guys stomp your feet like that? And let's clap together. That's it. Keep it going. Let's sing this little light of mine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
All right, keep clapping now. Sounds good? Everywhere I go.
Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine.
Yes,
Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Oh, that sounds so good. That's called clapping on the backbeat. All right, sing this real quiet with me now.
Even when I'm afraid, I'm gonna let it shine.
Even when I'm afraid, I'm gonna let it shine. Yes, even when I'm afraid,
I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Hey kids, you're probably wondering why I'm dressed like this, but stay tuned because we're going to find out how God can make good of any bad situation that we might come across.
It's a perfect day in Galilee. This is News Channel 7, the Galilean Gazette, the holiest news you'll find on your tablet. I am Kitty Couric.
And I'm Timmy Allen.
That's right. So today, kids, we're going to be talking about...
And I'm Bob.
And he's Bob. Kids, this week we're on our 5th lesson in the amazing summer series called Slimed. We're traveling through the life of Jacob. So last week we saw that Jacob fell in love with a girl named Rachel and how Laban, her father, tricked him into marrying Leah, who was actually her older sister. Sounds like a soap opera. He also made Jacob agree to work for free for 7 more years before he was permitted to marry Rachel. It's crazy.
You know that this tricky situation might be the one I am in right now.
Timmy, what are you doing?
Timmy, I feel like I ask this every single week. What are you doing? And please tell me that that's not slime.
It's not really slime, but it's a type of slime. This one is more like a plastic. I made it this morning.
Oh, that's strange. I usually see you in the kitchen in the morning, but didn't see you this morning. But what I did find was this small plastic egg. And it says Silly Putty on it.
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
Okay, wait, are you okay? I mean, first of all, it seems like you're having a really hard time doing whatever you're trying to do. Do you need help?
No. You see, this is my super duper looper Putty Wuddy 4000 that I made. It's so incredible. You simply lay it down like this. Then you pretend as if you're going to take the ink off of here, and it transfers right on like this. Voila. Mine seems to be broken. That didn't work.
Listen, Bob, can I see this a minute? Let me take a look at it for you.
Hey, I just Googled this Silly Putty stuff, and it actually has a pretty cool story behind it. It was actually an experiment gone wrong. It was not supposed to be a fun toy at all. You see, during World War II, James Wright was trying to create a kind of super rubber while experimenting with a substance called silicon, and he added boric acid to it and created a gooey mess. His hopes of making sturdier boots, tires, and other items for the troops went right out the window.
You know what, Bob, that's right, I forgot about that. Shortly after that mishap, it went on to be a super popular toy that kids really loved. I used to do it every Sunday morning. The exact same thing Timmy's trying to do. I can definitely get this to work. Are you ready? Watch. If you can
What?
get in close, you can see the newspapers printed on it.
It actually is.
See?
Okay. Well, some of the greatest discoveries in history were accidental discoveries, just like penicillin, for example. Total mistake, and now it's a powerful medicine that helps us fight against all kinds of infections.
Timmy, that's so true. Another one is the pacemaker, which is a device used to regulate a person's heartbeat. That was another accidental discovery.
You know, a few more include the microwave. The microwave oven was an accident. Post-it notes, the Slinky, and did you guys know that chocolate chip cookies were supposed to be something else, yet they turned into something remarkable?
The most shocking part about all these accidental discoveries is how quickly they could have been missed or tossed aside.
Exactly. When it didn't resemble what they were intended to create, they could have easily tossed them right out, labeling them as failed. However, if we look at what failed experiments have in common, they all ended up creating something good and useful.
I totally agree, Bob. That's exactly what happened. And you know what? This reminds me of our story today. God took a not-so-good situation and turned it into something remarkable. He helped Jacob make something amazing out of a very slimy situation. So guys, let's turn over to Barbara Wawa, who's live on the scene. She's a great story. She's at Jacob's house right now. So Barbara, what is going on? Thanks, guys. I'm here at the home of Jacob. Many years have passed, and he has a huge family now. 12 children total. With a family that size, Jacob knew something had to change. He felt things were getting too crowded. He needed his own land and his own herd of cattle and flocks of sheep and goats. Now, kids, Jacob was ready to return home, but he knew it would be very hard to move his family, especially if he had no money or no livestock. So he thought up an idea, more like a deal to strike up with Laban in order to get his family back home. Jacob scheduled a meeting with Laban, and this is where the story begins. Laban, I have worked for you for 14 years. I have 12 children now. I need a place of my own. Please release me to take my wives and my children home to my own country, Canaan, where I can live on my own land. I don't want your money or anything that belongs to you. Just do this one thing, and I'll continue to tend and watch over your flocks. All right, my boy. Tell me, what do you have in mind? You had a little before I came, but your wealth has increased enormously. The Lord has blessed you through everything I have done. I will stay and continue taking care of your animals if you allow me to separate them. Since the solid ones are much better than the speckled or spotted, I will give you all the solid colored sheep and goats, and I'll take the other ones, along with all the black sheep. They will be the payment for my wages. Laban, being a very shrewd businessman, could not resist this deal. He agreed to it, but he was already planning another slimy trick. So Laban said, I couldn't agree more. Let's shake on it and call it a deal. But Laban planned to trick Jacob yet again. Right after making the deal, Laban took all the flock that he just agreed to give Jacob. And guess what? He gave them to his own sons, who took off with them. They traveled for 3 days from where Jacob was. Meanwhile, Jacob stayed and took very good care of the rest of Laban's flock. Jacob knew God was with him, and he was caring for all the flocks. He had an idea. He collected different kinds of wood, and he took the bark and put them in the watering troughs of the goats and sheep. You're not going to believe this. The craziest thing happened. It actually worked. God protected Jacob. See, even though Laban tried to sabotage Jacob, his flocks of sheep and herds of goats, they gave birth to babies that were streaked, speckled, and spotted. And his flock kept growing and growing. Even though Laban tricked Jacob, God turned a slimy situation into something remarkable. It's so unbelievable. You know, kids, it's important to remember other people's slime can sometimes be super hard on us. Yet, we can always trust God to lead us and guide us. It wasn't long before Laban's sons noticed Jacob's flock was getting bigger and bigger, and they were angry. Jacob heard that they were complaining, and the Lord told him it was time to take his family back to Canaan. Jacob got all his family together and said, Laban is angry with me. You know, I have worked for your father for years and have done nothing wrong, even though he keeps changing his deals and he has been deceitful with me. God told me to leave here and take you all back to Canaan. Then Rachel and Leah decided that they did not like the way Laban had been treating Jacob or how they had been treated by their own father, and they were willing to leave. While Laban was out in the field shearing sheep, Jacob sat his wives and children on camels, rounding up all his herds and flocks, and they formed a large caravan heading towards Jacob's hometown of Canaan. 3 days later, Laban hadn't even noticed that Jacob and all of his family were gone. Someone even had to tell Laban that Jacob was taking his family and animals with him. Laban was not a bit happy to hear that news. He gathered a group of men to go with him to help find Jacob. They traveled 7 days and finally came within sight of Jacob's caravan.
Why, I oughta.
Since Jacob had heard the news from God to go back to his land, it made Laban nervous. Laban was well known for tricking people and making deals, but he knew better than to try and go against God. When he finally caught up with Jacob, he was as kind could be. Jacob, why did you leave without telling me? I would have liked to at least say goodbye and given the children a hug. Also, no, I could have done you harm, but last night when I found you, God told me not to hurt you. I know you miss your hometown and want to go back there. I left quickly because I was afraid you would try to stop me by one of your sneaky tricks. But I only took the animals that you told me I could have. But no, all that I have is a blessing from God, not from you. I know, God has spoke with me. So I will make a promise to you that I won't follow you any further and I won't cause you any harm. Jacob took a large stone and set it up in a pillar. Jacob told Laban's men to gather stones and add them to the one that he had set up. Each man added a rock. After all the promises had been made, Jacob offered a sacrifice to God, and all the people from both groups ate together and spent the evening there. Early the next morning, Laban got up and he hugged and kissed his daughters and his grandchildren. Then both groups went their separate ways.
Goodbye.
Wow, this is such a good story. But we really see how this story could have taken a turn for the bad. But God worked it all out. He took a not so good situation and made it remarkable. Because Jacob is headed home. What will happen? We shall be ready. Things are about to get interesting and you will not want to miss it. But right now, I'm going to turn it over to Sunny Ray.
Hi, I am Sunny Ray, and I am in the weather. And as you can see, I'm hiking through the fog. I can barely see. I am trying to make my way around without getting hurt. Kids, let me tell you that I'm a little nervous to be out here in this fog. Can anyone see me? I can't see you guys. It is going to be so difficult to do a weather report when I can't even see. Oh no, it looks like I got lost on my GPS too. Oh dear. Well, I'm going to listen to what the Bible says in 1 Corinthians 13:12 in the Message. We don't yet see things clearly. We're squinting in a fog, peering through a mist, but it won't be long before the weather clears and the sun shines bright. We'll see it all then. See it all as clearly as God sees us, knowing Him directly, just as He knows us. See, kids, we are all going to be put into slimy situations. And some days we will feel like we are stuck or even have a friend hurt us. And kind of like me, wandering around a forest in a fog, we can feel lost or even scared. But through our praise and prayer, God will see these times as an opportunity to grow our faith. We can trust God to work in all things out for our good, even when things seem a little foggy. Remember, God can make good out of slimy situations. Well, I'm going to keep hiking. very carefully. So let's head back to the studio with Kitty, Timmy, and Bob.
Wow, guys, that was a really interesting story. It's amazing to see how God can make good out of bad situations, just like he did for Jacob, right? Giving him a large amount of animals and flocks and stuff and protecting him from Laban.
Yep. I brought a few items in to help us remember of our many stories from the past and how God worked them out for the good.
Okay, I see some water. Looks like a songbook and some stones.
You see, this water in a jar is to remind us of a story in the Bible. It's an important one, too. This is how God saved the Israelites when they were trapped between the Egyptians and the Red Sea. By parting the waters of the sea, they were able to make their big escape.
And I'm sure that these stones, I can figure that one out, right? This is an amazing story about David and Goliath, a small shepherd boy who defeated a giant with only one small stone. This is an amazing story of how the faith of one little boy who believed in our God saved his people.
And then the last item, of course, is the songbook. And it's to remind us of King Jehoshaphat, who defeated an army, not with swords or spears or any kind of violence. It was with songs of praise. And in all of these situations, God definitely took a bad situation and made it good. You know, I've thought of these stories too, and it's a miracle how God saved us from our sins. Through his son Jesus, we can say yes to Jesus. And know while we are sinners, he died for us, so that we can have life everlasting. That is making good out of a bad situation for all of us.
God knows the bad situations we face. He knows the slimy moments that we've lived through and the ones that are coming our way. Whenever we face one of those moments, he wants us to fully rely on him. He will give us wisdom, just like he did Jacob, to make something good out of a bad situation. He'll see us through, and he will build our faith. Remember, God can make good out of bad situations. There's one thing we can always count on, guys. So, well, I feel like this has been, yet again, another great story.
I can't wait to see what happens next week with Jacob.
Yeah, he is heading home, and I would have a hard time facing the slimy situation that I left behind.
Yep, I definitely can't wait to see how it all goes either. This has been yet another great story. So, from all of us here at News Channel 7, the Galilean Gazette, have a perfect day.
Hey kids, we have a brand new memory verse for you this week. Let's do it together. But I cry out to God, and the Lord saves me. Psalm 55:16. Let's do it one more time slow, and then we'll do it faster. Ready? But I cry out to God, and the Lord saves me. Psalm 55:16. Ready? Let's do it faster. But I cry out to God, and the Lord saves me. Psalm 55:16. Great job, everyone. Thank you.
Hey kids, today I'm filling in for Shelly on Craft Time. So today we're making sheep. So what you do is you cut out this piece of paper, you draw on the little sheep legs there, and you also cut out a little face. See, right there with like the two googly eyes. You can also draw the nose and the mouth, and you also want to paste all these cotton balls on there with either glue or tape. So yeah, I hope you enjoy, and now you can have Laban's sheep.
Why do you have my sheep? Hey kids, thanks for joining us for our story today. And just remember that God can make good out of bad situations. See you next week.